Hey everyone, and welcome to Talking Elite episode 82. We are here for our AEW All In 2024 review. Adam may or may not be on. I'm hosting for right now. He is stuck in traffic or something, so I'm taking over the duty position of the host for right now. Yeah, we're going to be going through the entire card of All In that took place today. I thought it was a really good show. Uh, there were some matches that were not really that good, and there were some matches that were really, really good. Overall, I thought it was a very good pay per view, and we'll discuss everything from the pre show to the main card to leading into All Out, all of that. I might be the only one on here. I'm not for sure entirely, but uh, yeah. So we're gonna start with the 0 hour matches first. Uh, and also, if someone comes in, I'll let them in. But yeah, everyone in the comments, feel free to leave what you thought of each match we discussed and all that. But yeah, the first 0 match we have on the card is Will Nightingale and Tomorrow Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. This match I thought was okay. I thought it could have been on Dynamite or Collision or something like that, or Rampage. Uh, I haven't really, I don't really get into Stokely. He's a good manager, but put him in the ring and all that, I just don't think it's really that entertaining. Um, but I thought it was what it was supposed to do. It really wasn't all that. I believe the whoever won this match would get to pick the stipulation for All Out between Chris Statlander and Blue Nightingale. So Blue Nightingale and Ishii won this match, so they will get to choose uh, the stipulation for their All Out match. So they'll be going to each other at All Out. They're already building towards All Out. Chris Statlander versus Will Nightingale. It isn't going to be for some title. It might be one of the titles Will Nightingale has. Maybe it's New Japan title or whatever. Uh, yeah, that was that match. Overall, I thought it was what it was supposed to be. It was whatever it was supposed to be. Uh, but yeah, let me scroll down for the next match. All right, here we go. We got a 16. Yeah, this might be the 16-man tag match. Oh no! This is a 16-man tag match. This is way too much. All the multi-man matches they had on 0 hour, I thought were very, very sloppy and all over the place, and you didn't know who the legal man is, and all of that. But 16-man tag match included on one team, you had the Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Ogogo, and Ari Daivari versus Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, Action Andrade, Top Flight, Darius Martin, and Dante Martin, Leo Rush. Yeah, that was that whole set of match. It was all over the place, but it was good to see some of these guys on the All In card. Uh, Kip Sabian, mostly for me, I like Kip Sabian a lot, so I thought it was great to have him on the card. Um, we got Dark Order. They don't really do much in AEW. They're mostly on ROH, so it's good to have them on there. Uh, Action Andretti was on there. Anthony Ogogo. He's finally getting used more, it looks like. Anthony Ogogo is. Uh, yeah, I thought it was okay. It was very all over the place. No one knew what was going on. But the team of Kip Sabian and them won. Kip Sabian hasn't won a match in a long time in AEW. And he won, so that was good. We had another multi-man match on 0 hour. It was Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Shibata, and the Von Erichs versus Brian Cage, the Gates Wagner, Khan, and Toa Lona versus Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. It was a okay match. It was just like the other multi-man match. It was all over the place. No one knew what was going on. No one knew who the legal men were. No one knew anything. But Dustin Rhodes' team won. And Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is back in the mix. Not really on AEW, mostly on ROH. That's where he's been placed. Um, he has been on a Collision a little bit, but he's mostly on Ring of Honor. He or is he even is he even on Ring of Honor because they won the tag titles on Collision. They won the trios titles, the ROH 6-man titles on Collision. So I don't even know if he's on ROH. But that was that match. That was pretty much the conclusion to the All In 0 Hour. Yeah, that looks to be it. Yeah. So the pre-show was okay. Again, the multi-man matches were all over the place for the most part, but it was good to see some of these guys like Brian Cage, Kip Sabian, uh, Tommy Billington, Sammy Guevara, Von Erichs. It's good to see Dark Order. It's good to see them on the show, Private Party. Yeah, we go into the main show. The main show did consist of, the first match of the show was for the AEW World Trios Championships in the London ladder match for the titles. We had the champions, the Panarchy, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. They went up against Pac and Claudio and Will Yuta versus the Bang Bang Gang, the Bullet Club Gold, versus the House of Black. I thought this match was very, very good. I wish House of Black would have won because they lose all the time. It feels like over the past few months, like at Double or Nothing, that really turned me off. You guys all know that. I wanted Malachi Black in the TNT title. He should have been a singles champion years ago, but they lost. The winners were the Panarchy. No. The winners were Pac, Claudio, and Yuta. They won this match. I'm surprised Jon Moxley was not in this. I'm surprised he did nothing for All Out. I'm surprised he didn't do much at all. I figured he was going to be the third man and the Blackpool Combat Club would have won, but maybe Pac is in the Blackpool Combat Club now. At the end of All In, I won't go into that yet, but we did see Pac come out with the Blackpool Combat Club to who won the main event. We'll get in that later, but Pac was on Collision. He got a hometown ovation. As an AEW fan since day one, I really like that AEW's been to the UK and he got that reaction because as an AEW fan since day one, I had the a lot of people can relate to this that they had the mindset when AEW went to the UK, Pac would be the best featured star coming out of that country. Of course, get Will Ospreay and others, but as an AEW day one fan, Pac is the most consistent wrestler of all time in that company. I feel like he should be an AEW World Champion eventually. He's won 3 titles now in AEW. Well, actually, here's a fun fact. He is the only wrestler to win the Trios titles twice, but with a different team. He won it with the Lucha Bros, Death Triangle, and he's won it with the Blackpool Combat Club. He's the only guy to do that. He also has been the international champion. Yeah, I thought this match was a good match. Very all over the place. That's how a lot of matches are, all over the place. So this would make sense. There was tables involved, chairs involved. Nick Wayne's mother was involved. The spot with Juice Robinson when they threw him off, and then he's not rock hard anymore. That's for sure. That was a pretty funny spot. Well, not funny to him probably, but Pac, Claudio, and Will Yuta win this match. It was a good match to open the show. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Pac and them do with the trios titles and what they do with All Out. I don't know if these titles will be on the line at All Out. Pac may get his international title shot at All Out against Will Ospreay. We'll see. But personally, I would do something different with that. I'd save that match for Wrestle Dream. But we'll see. But the next match we go to is Mariah May and Toni Storm. This is the first women's match of the entire night, singles match wise. Last year, All In only had one women's match actually. They had the Fatal 4-Way match, and that was it. This year they have 2, technically 3 if you count that mixed tag match, but only 2. Logan, thanks for watching. Logan McNeely. Yeah, everyone in the comments, tell me how you felt about All In. What was your favorite matches? What did you not like? What did you like the most? What was your moment of the night? Everyone in the chat, definitely let us know what matches you liked and what you didn't like and all that. But the second match was Tony Storm and Mariah May. Tony Storm was the champion going into this. The story with Tony Storm and Mariah May has been very good. Uh, some of it I did not like with the Mina stuff. I didn't really get her place in the story. But overall, the story was very good. They built this story for months, and this shows that storytelling makes the matches bigger. They the match was better because of the story. It had that extra emotion to it rather than just being a match for a title to see who's the better wrestler. But that was a very good match. Uh, I thought Tony Storm was going to win there. I wanted Tony Storm to win because she was very close from being the longest reigning AEW Women's Champion. I feel like she deserved that, but uh, she had like she was going to hit Mariah May with a shoe, but she didn't. She hesitated. She threw it down. Mariah May countered that and almost went with the roll up. She didn't, but then Mariah May uses Tony Storm's own finisher to win the match, the pile driver. It was a very good match. Tony Storm and Mariah May had a very good match with each other. I feel like their story is probably in the top 5 best women's stories of all time. Maybe it is the best women's story in AEW history. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa was good. Tony Storm and Deanna was good. Ruby and Britt Baker was good. Britt Baker is involved in a lot of good stories within the women. But yeah, that was that match. Mariah May won the AEW Women's Championship. I really wish Tony Storm would have won to become the longest reigning women's champion because she was at 281 days. The longest AEW women's champion is Hikaru Shida, and she held the belt. I keep up with all this stuff. I believe, yeah, here it is. Hikaru Shida held the belt for 372 days. Tony Storm ended at 281, so she was very close from 300. She was very, very close. So, but I'm glad Tony Storm got the women's title run that she deserved. Her first run wasn't even official. It was an interim champion. Wasn't even recognized until she lost it. So when she lost it, then they recognized it. Her second run wasn't all that good. She beat Shida for it, and then a month later, Shida wins back. So I'm glad that this run was the run that she deserved all along. She got a good women's run, a good women's title run as the champion. I'm glad she got that. Even if she didn't become the longest reigning champion, and I'm sure she's going to win it. She's going to win it again. I think she'll win the women's title the most times out of anybody. She's already a 3-time women's champion. She's tied with Shida. But Mariah May's champion. I'm curious to see what she does it. I hope they continue a story, maybe with Tony Storm. I think Tony Storm's going to take a break for a little while, and then come back and go against Mariah May. They might not do that, but hopefully, if she does take a break, Tony Storm, they give Mariah May someone that continue on with the story and not just, okay, we got a good month's worth of a story out of this. Let's just, like, that was good enough. No, we need to keep going with it, make Mariah May even bigger star, keep putting her in stories. Because she's basically the Mickie James of AEW, kind of like how Mickie James came in with Trish Stratus. That was kind of the same thing. Different characters, obviously, but very similar story aspects. So I'm curious to see what they do with Mariah May next. It is a very good match. We'll see what happens next. The next match we have, some of these matches may not be in order. I tried my best to get them in order, but Connor JB from Twitter, love this match with Tony Mariah should have been later in the show notes. I agree that they should have swapped those matches. I would have had Britt Baker and Mercedes start second and put Tony Mariah where Mercedes and Baker was. We'll talk about that match later. But the next match, I believe it was Hook and Jericho in the FTW rules match. Hook did win. He won his title back. Honestly, I could have cared less who won this match. I could care less if Jericho won or if Hook won. I did not like the story at all. I don't like the Jericho stuff. And don't get me wrong, Jericho is one of the best of all time. He's one of the best wrestlers of all time. He's had the best gimmicks, but this gimmick right here, out of all the other gimmicks he's done, is probably the worst thing he's ever done in his career. I know he thinks that people like it, but he's honored for his opinion. He's respected for that, but it's not. I could have cared less who won this match, but Hook did win this match. It was a very decent match. I didn't have any emotion to it whatsoever, but we saw Brian Keith and Big Bill. Obviously, they're with Jericho and Loney Tree. They were ringside for him. We saw Taz actually get a physical. This is the first time in AEW history that he's gotten physical. I think he may have gotten involved physical with Brian Cage and all that, but Taz got physical. He put Brian Keith in some kind of hold, and he helped Hook win, and Hook won the FTW champion, and he's a 3-time FTW champion. So hopefully this feud is done. Jericho can take a few months off, don't come back till next year, and then Hook. Honestly, I know everyone says this on podcasts, but Hook needs to retire the FTW championship, retire the belt, go to something else. There's nothing else he can do with that title. Like, the only interesting thing they can do is have him win it and then lose it, and win it and lose it to make it interesting. But Hook is very young, but he's done that for so long that I don't know what else they can do with the FTW championship. I think they should retire it, give it to Taz, let him put it in the attic or whatever. Put it somewhere for memorabilia, because that's how easily history making it was in ECW with Sabu and Taz, and it is a history. The title has history, but it's not recognized by AEW, and it's not going to advance Hook at all. I think Hook would be a good challenger for the TNT title against Jack Perry. Jack Perry and Hook have history with each other. I think that would be good. I think Hook needs to advance other than the FTW title. He needs to go after a different title that actually means something in AEW. But that was whatever with that match. I could have cared less who won and who lost that. Tell me what you guys thought about that match. But we move on from that match. And again, some of these matches might not be all in order. I'm just going to go with the tag title match next. This could have been next on the card. We got the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. FTR versus Young Bucks versus The Acclaim. The Young Bucks are the champions going into it. This is the first AEW tag team title defense we've seen since Dynasty, and that was in April or May. It was like 100 and something days ago. They did have a tag title defense on Dynamite against The Acclaim, but there was no outcome of a win. It is considered still a title defense, but we've only seen 2 title defenses since Dynasty. The tag team division is kind of stale and, quite frankly, dead right now. I hate to say that. They do have tag teams available, but it seems like the only teams going for the belts is FTR, Young Bucks, and Acclaim, and that's it. But this match I thought it was very underwhelming. I thought there would be more to it. Last year's match with FTR and Young Bucks was very, very good. I thought they would try to top that or have a very good match to compete against last year's match, because all 3 teams are good in ring. No one was bad in the match, but they just didn't do enough. I feel like Young Bucks did retain. I really didn't want FTR to win. Really, I didn't want Acclaim to win, so I was fine with Young Bucks retaining. But the Young Bucks win this match, and I hope. Well, before that, after the match happened, we had a sort of a debut. This team has been on AEW before. I think on Rampage and Ring of Honor. Maybe Ring of Honor and Collision. I know they were on Collision against FTR, I believe, or the Acclaimed. But the Grizzled Young Vets were on All In. They came out after the match, basically to tease a maybe possible tag team title match against the Young Bucks. Maybe we'll see this match at All In. All Out in 2 weeks. There needs to be different teams going for the belts besides FTR and Acclaimed. I don't want to see FTR and Young Bucks again, really. We've seen that match like 4 or 5 times now. I want to see it again, but don't do it for a while. We've seen that match so much. I like to see some different teams get in the mix, like Private Party, Top Flight, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King. Maybe the Grizzly Young Vets will be involved. I don't know if they're signed or not, but they'll definitely be doing something since they were on the show. But I thought this match could have been better. I didn't think it was what it was going to be or what I expected it to be. But yeah, that was a pretty decent match. I didn't really care for it. Young Bucks retaining that. Next match, we will go to we'll go with the AEW Casino Gauntlet match. It was for a guaranteed world title shot. Anywhere, anytime, I guess. I'm assuming it's just going to be you cash in for a match at a later date, not where you can just do like the Money in the Bank concept. But this match was very, very good. I liked this match. AEW did this on. They did it twice before. Once on Dynamite. I think they both might have been on Dynamite, and Will Ospreay won both of them. I thought this was a very fun match. It's kind of AEW's own version of the Royal Rumble match, kind of. DJ music. Okay, sorry about that. I had for some reason it's been doing that on my end here lately. It's been just freezing out of nowhere, and then I don't know. Sorry about that. I'm the only one on tonight, so sorry for the interruption. As I posted in the chat. Uh, yeah, we were on the Casino Gauntlet match. Um, I thought this match was a pretty good match. They did this twice before on Dynamite, I believe. Will Ospreay won both of them. Uh, and this is kind of AEW's own style of the WWE's War Rumble. It's kind of their own style of it. Uh, Two men start the match, and then the match doesn't end until someone wins. So more people can come out on and on and on again until someone wins by pinfall. Uh, I feel like this match should only happen one time a year, and it should be at All Out. This is kind of like how WWE used to have the Money in the Bank only at WrestleMania. I thought it was very, very good. It's a very fun match, uh, a match that fans can get invested in very easily. We did see a lot of good people in this match. We started off with Orange Cassidy and Okada. I was hoping Orange Cassidy was not going to win because Orange Cassidy wins everything, it seems. His record shows that he wins everything. Like Moxley and Darby, like they win everything. Which I don't like that with AEW. Like they have the same people win a lot of times, so that means a lot of the same people lose all the time. But this match was very good. Okada and Orange Cassidy started it off. We've seen Nigel McGuinness make his in-ring return. I don't know if he's coming back full. I doubt he's coming back full time. I really doubt that. But maybe we see him against Danielson. Maybe. But Nigel McGuinness returned. That was a very cool moment. I didn't expect Nigel McGuinness. We saw Roderick Strong. We saw Kyle O'Reilly. We saw Zack Sabre Jr. He was in the mix. And we saw the debut of someone. I expected this man to debut on the show. I felt that it was inevitable that he would show up on this show in some capacity. But once they announced this match, I felt he was going to be in this match. Ricochet, former WWE star, made his AEW debut in the Casino Gauntlet match. He got a pretty big pop. He came out during when Adam Page and Jeff Jarrett was doing something. I believe Adam Page was interacting with Karen Jarrett, and that's when Ricochet came out. Ricochet did very good in his debut. I didn't expect him to win. I probably wouldn't have had him in this match at all. I probably would have done something else. But he had a pretty good performance with guys that he hasn't worked with ever, probably. He hasn't worked with Orange Cassidy. He hasn't worked with Jeff Jarrett. He hasn't worked with. He may have won against Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know. But there's other guys that he went against in the match: Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Nigel McGuinness. Who else in the match? Jeff Jarrett, Hangman. Evil Uno said he was going to be in it, but he wasn't even in it. But Adam Page did not win this gauntlet match. I thought he was going to win this match because they kind of he wasn't in a singles match. He didn't do anything, so I'd assume that he'd have won this. But Luchasaurus and Christian Cage were in this. I didn't expect Christian Cage to be in this because he had lost his AEW Trios Championship later on in the evening. But as he said, as being Trios Champion, he wants to win every AEW title. He wants to win everything. The World, TNT, International, Continental Tag. He wants to win it all. So at first, it seemed like Luchasaurus was going to turn on Christian Cage, but he did not. He chokeslammed I don't even know who he got the pinfall on, but it was someone. He chokeslammed them, and Christian Cage basically got the win, like how Christian Cage and Luchasaurus normally does. I don't know how long they're going to drag that out. They've been teasing Luchasaurus turning on Christian Cage for a while now, maybe 2 years or close to a year now that they've been dragging that out. But Christian Cage did win this. I predicted this a month or two ago that Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson would happen at All Out, and Hangman and Swerve will be a separate match, not for the title. We'll see. We'll get to those matches shortly. But the gauntlet match was very good. Ricochet made his debut. Nigel McGuinness made his return. Those were the two surprises, really, in the match. It could be said over Zack Sabre Jr., but he's a good wrestler, but he's not like a shock value to me. Like if Bobby Lashley was in this, that'd be shock value because Zack Sabre Jr. is in AEW a lot. Like he's on there quite a bit for pay-per-views, or he comes in and off. Yeah, Christian Cage won that. That was unexpected. Then we move on to the AEW TNT Championship match. That was in a coffin match, but they had a casket out there, so it wasn't really a coffin match. It was more of a casket match. This one was very, very short, I thought. I thought it would go on a little longer. It felt like it was maybe 10 minutes. It felt like a squash match, really. Darby really didn't get much in. Jack Perry mainly dominated the whole match. We saw Glass, of course. Jack Perry can't be in wrestling without CM Punk, man. He can't. He has to throw stuff like that out to keep himself being relevant because before CM Punk stuff, what was he doing? Like he was heel and doing the feud with Hook, but it wasn't interesting at all. He wasn't what he is now. He has to use the CM Punk stuff to keep him going, but long term, that you can't bank on that all the time. Eventually, you're going to have to come up with something different. The match was okay. It was very, very short. I was expecting a little bit more out of that. It's at Wembley, a big stadium. Darby Allin does a lot of crazy stuff, and he didn't really do a lot of that in this match. I thought there would have been more in this match. He had Glass with thumbtacks on his head, and Darby did, I think. But the match was okay. It was very underwhelming, I thought. I expected more out of it. Jack Perry did retain with the help of the Young Bucks. I expected Jack Perry to retain. He just won the title. But if you listen to our predictions, I did claim that if Darby Allin was going to win, that Sting would have been in the casket, coffin, whatever, and he would have been in the casket and he would have came out and helped. But that did not happen. But once the Young Bucks and Jack Perry were beating up on Darby, they were going to light him on fire like Darby almost did the Jack Perry in the Blood and Guts match. But the lights go out and Sting returns to AEW. He did mention at the Revolution press conference that he he was like, man, I might just do a London. Like maybe he returns to AEW once a year or twice a year, do something like that. But he won't be wrestling in ring. So I think that was a very great surprise. Once he didn't pop out in the casket or coffin, I didn't think he was going to do anything. But it was a good surprise seeing Sting at All In. He didn't help. Sting, you could have helped, and you could have helped Darby win the TNT title. But he did help him the most when it mattered. He helped Sting. He helped Darby from being blew up, caught on fire. So at least Sting helped that. But that was a very decent match. Sting made the match more interesting than what it really was. So it was great to see Sting back in AEW for a night. I imagine he'll make more appearances like this. If there's an AEW Hall of Fame or stuff like that, he might do some stuff. If his sons wrestle, maybe he manages his sons for a match or two. I don't never see him wrestling again in ring, which that makes sense because that would defeat the whole purpose of Revolution this year. But okay match. I didn't really care for it. Next match we have is the AEW TBS Championship. The champion Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker. Now this match on paper was a big match. It felt like a big match on paper, DMD and CEO, like that just goes together. Like everyone was anticipating that since Mercedes Moné debuted in AEW. They did have, when Britt Baker first came back, they did have a good story when Britt Baker returned at Forbidden Door. And then the next week they had the promo, the first promo, it was good. And then after that, it just went nowhere. We did hear reports of Britt Baker getting suspended, which was very childish from the reports. She said, he said, very childish stuff. Could have been avoided, but she did get suspended for 2 weeks. They did have Britt Baker on like video packages and stuff, but for a big feud like that, you need to be in person, like face to face. We saw Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné in some matches. We've seen her against Hikaru Shida. We've seen Britt Baker against someone. I can't remember who she went against. But then we saw the addition of Camilla Brickhouse. This last Wednesday, they had the contracts. I thought that was very sloppy what they did with that. But they just tried to build way too late because of Britt Baker's suspension. But if MJF didn't get suspended, then I don't know why she had to be suspended. I don't know. Maybe she did something worse and we don't know. But the match was very terrible, to say the least. It was god awful. Not even Mercedes Moné could save the match. And she's the bigger star here, but neither one. It just felt like neither one of, at least for Britt Baker, like she didn't want to be there. Which it has been rumored that her and Jamie Hayter has had issues, and I forgot to mention that in the pre-show that Jamie Hayter did return tonight. Saraya came out, did a promo spill, and then guess what? Jamie Hayter returned, and it maybe teased a match between Jamie Hayter and Saraya. We don't know if there's real issues, but it kind of seemed that way because you would think that Jamie Hayter would help Britt Baker because Camilla Brickhouse was on Mercedes' side. So you would think Jamie Hayter would return then and help Britt Baker, but that didn't happen. So there could be issues with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker after all. But it just felt like Britt Baker didn't want to be there. If that wasn't the case, and then they just had a very bad match. There wasn't a lot of chemistry there. Towards the end of the match, it did pick up, but it didn't save the match. Mercedes Moné did win. But yeah, it was a very bad match. Some people I see on Twitter are trying to make it better than what it really was, but there's no really hiding that. And I don't even want to see a second match, really. Like after seeing that, I don't want to see it again. Unless something drastically changes, I don't know what else they do. Mercedes won pretty clean. At least I thought. Maybe I missed something. If I didn't miss something, definitely in the comments if I did. But that was the end of that match. I thought it would have been a lot better on. It looks good on paper, but in reality, it sucked. It was bad. It just was boring. Like the crowd wasn't into it. It was just bad. But Mercedes retains. I had her retaining because she just won it. I don't think her first reign is going to be that quick. But For her first All In, Mercedes did not have that good of a match, but we'll see what she does next. The next pay-per-view is All In. I mean, All Out. I keep getting them confused. It is All Out, so we'll see if she wrestles there. We'll see what Mariah May does. We really don't know where both women's titles go from here after All In. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Yeah, that was into that match, and then we go into our main event for the AEW World Championship. Well, no. I forgot one match. Then we'll get to the main event. We got the AEW American Championship, which isn't. It's still the International Championship. It's a custom belt for MJF. But with MJF going in as champion versus Will Ospreay, this match was a very, very, very good match. Possibly the best match on the show. It probably topped the main event. Story wise, this story was the best story on the entire show. It did top the main event. It topped Mercedes and Baker. It topped everything. Will Ospreay and MJF had the best story, and normally everything MJF is in, he has the best at it. He's the best on the mic in AEW. As a heel, he is. Maybe Christian can tops him a little bit, but overall, MJF is the best heel in AEW. His feuds with Punk, Danielson, Joe, what else? Danielson, the Four Pillars match to get this feud with Darby. Everything that MJF is in, he's really, really good, and he's really the first homegrown talent to really make a name for himself, and did the work all on his own. He was that good on the mic. He made you feel. He was a real heel. He played his character not on TV. He played it all the time. He went as a face, which I'm glad he's not face anymore. But this one was very, very good. We did see Daniel Garcia return. Now, this may happen what I predicted a few weeks back. Daniel Garcia did cost MJF, and Will Ospreay won the match. He is the new international champion and a two-time international champion. I think he'll have a longer run this time with the belt. But it was great to see MJF with the belt because realistically, you only see him going for the world title. So it was good to see him going for a different title besides the world title. And this feud is probably the best feud in the international championship history. It's probably the best feud. And probably the best matches, too. Both their matches were very good. I don't know if this match topped the first match. Let me know in the comments. Did you think that the second match was better than the first, or do you think the first still is the best? I thought they both were good. I don't know which one was the best, to be honest. The one match went an hour. This match, I don't know if it went an hour. I didn't time it. This match was a very good match, but I predicted a few weeks back that Daniel Garcia would cost MJF and Will Ospreay would win. But Will Ospreay wouldn't like the way he won. He didn't win fair and square. So then Ospreay's mad at Danielson. I mean, Ospreay is mad at Garcia. MJF's mad at Garcia for costing him. Garcia's mad about MJF, what he did to him the last time they seen each other. So that creates a triple threat match for All Out. But Pac is owed a international title shot. So what I would do personally is at All Out do Ospreay, MJF, and Garcia triple threat. I would have Ospreay win and retain the title. And then at Wrestle Dream, have Ospreay and Pac. Wrestle Dream, it's kind of a dream match, so I would do that then. I wouldn't have Pac win. I think Ospreay should have it till the end of the year, going into next year, to be honest. I think he needs to have that kind of international run like that Orange Cassidy had. But I would have Ospreay go to have him take the belt other companies. He does independent stuff a little bit. Have him go to Mexico, have him go to London, have him go to Riv Pro, go to some of these other companies and defend the belt. And then post these matches on AEW social media platforms like YouTube and all that. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I like to see them do that. But this match was a very great match. I thought, for me personally, this match was the best match of the entire show. MJF and Ospreay was the best match, was the best story going into it. I liked MJF's whole gear. It made you think of Sam Wilson a little bit. Some say it was Apollo Creed, but it didn't make me think of Apollo Creed. But it was a very, very great match. And I hope what I said happens, the triple threat match. I think that would be a great match. But obviously, MJF and Daniel Garcia are going to have a singles match. But it's been reported that Daniel Garcia has not yet re-signed with AEW, but he probably will be pretty soon since he showed up at All In. If he isn't going to resign, then I don't know what the purpose was bringing him back for. But I think he'll resign. Now we go to our main event, the final countdown, title versus career. AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. This match was a very, very good match, I thought. They had a very good story. This is probably the second best story going into All Out, All In. Title versus career was very good. The ending the Dynamite that set the match off in a good way. And even before that, they had a very good build. Title versus career, that's a pretty big deal. This could have been Bryan Danielson's last match. It was a very, very good match, I thought, very back and forth. Bryan Danielson was busted open, bleeding everywhere. Yeah, we did see someone in this match that I could see why they didn't win the Gauntlet Eliminator or the Casino Gauntlet match, because if he would have won that, why would he have any place to be? Like, why would he want to call Swerve? So Hangman did come out and call Swerve a little bit. Even when he costed him, he didn't win the match automatically. Swerve kicked out of the knee that Danielson does as his finisher. So he kicked out, and then Danielson made Swerve tapped out with the label lock. It was a very good match, back and forth. It was not. I didn't think it was. I think this match was the second best match on the show. I think Ospreay and MJF topped that match. But this match was a very good match. And Bryan Danielson did win the AEW World Champion and did become. He will not be retiring. I had a feeling that if Hangman would have won that, he would have cashed in. Then, like right when Danielson won, he would have cashed in right then and there. I'm glad I was wrong about that, because I want to see Danielson have it for a little bit. I don't think he's going to have it for very long. He's not going to have a run like Omega, Moxley, Jericho, Joe, Swerve. He's not going to have that kind of run. I think at All Out, we'll see Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage. I think Danielson wins that. And I think Danielson's last match will be at Wrestle Dream in his hometown of Washington. It's also Swerve's hometown, too. I honestly don't want to see Swerve be the one to beat Danielson. I really don't. But there was reports that they have had plans to have Darby be the next AEW World Champion, putting the title on him, which he has won the TNT title, tag titles, and that's it. Would you like to see Darby Allin as the next AEW World Champion? Personally, I would do. If I was booking it, I would have Danielson and Christian Cage at All Out. Danielson wins. Danielson goes to Grand Slam. That's where he's owed a title shot. Darby Allin is. He won the Royal Rampage to get a title shot. But before that match, on a Dynamite, before Grand Slam, I would have Bryan Danielson, possibly for the AEW 5-year anniversary. I would have Danielson go against Nigel McGuinness for the AEW World Championship. Danielson wins. I would have Danielson go against Darby at Grand Slam. Darby wins. Danielson wins. I would have Danielson beat Darby at Grand Slam, have him beat Nigel at the 5-year anniversary, and then, because after Grand Slam September, you can be really close to Wrestle Dream. Now, this isn't going to be Danielson's last match whenever he loses, because he did say that he's retiring from a full-time wrestler. So he'll be a part-time wrestler, and he wants to wrestle 3 to 4 matches a year. So he's not retiring forever like Sting did. People forget that. I would have Darby Allin beat Danielson at Wrestle Dream and become the next AEW World Champion. That's what I would do. Have Danielson have a little bit of a run. Or they could have Danielson lose the title at Grand Slam to Darby. They could very well do that. I would not do that. I would give it more of a story to it. Darby loses it, but then he goes for it again and then redeems himself and beats Darby and beats Danielson. And I think the best way for Danielson to lose is to put someone over that's never won it, and him losing it on a bigger stage in Grand Slam would do that. I don't want to see Swerve win it again, really. I don't. I think he should win it again eventually, but not anytime soon. I think it's time for someone like Darby to win, who's done basically everything there is to do to earn a world title shot. He's won the TNT title 3 times, won the tag title with Sting. He's had a lot of the best matches in AEW. He's won against literally all the big names in AEW: Punk, Joe, Danielson, who else? Moxley. Won his FTR a bunch of times. Sammy, MJF. I mean, he's won against a lot of top names. Swerve, he's won against. Who else? I feel like I'm forgetting people. Cody Rhodes. He's won against a lot of top names in AEW, and some he's won, some he's lost, but he's really proved that he can hang with a lot of the top stars in the company. So I would have Darby win the next championship at WrestleDream. That's what I would do. How would you guys do it? Who would you like to see beat Danielson for the world title? I think Danielson will be at next year's All In. That's what I would do. Or the alternative, which I've heard people say this, that Kenny Omega should beat Bryan Danielson, because we haven't gotten that rematch since Grand Slam 2021. But that's if Kenny Omega is healthy. You know, he may not be the wrestler this entire year. So that could do Kenny Omega beating Bryan Danielson at WrestleDream. But I think that Bryan Danielson will wrestle at next year's All In. And that's when they should do Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega Part 2. That's when they should do it. Then that'll be the perfect time to do it. Because I don't think Kenny Omega will be wrestling this entire year. I think he'll come back next year. He may make a TV appearance this year like he did earlier in the year. But yeah, that was pretty much the end of AEW our All In review. We're almost closing in an hour. We normally have an hour show for Talking Elite. Now we're trying to trim that down, so doing 2 or 3 hours. But what did you guys think of the overall All In? We normally rate shows a lot on here. If I was going to rate All In on a scale 1 to 10, I would give it a 7 out of 10. A lot of people are giving it a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 100 out of 10. I can't give it a 10 out of 10. I don't see how anyone can, because the match that should have delivered, Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné, did not deliver. That was a bad match. And some people say, well, that was because of Britt Baker. But a wrestling match is a 50-50. It's a partnership. So it was on both of them. Like, Mercedes didn't even carry the match. She did just as bad as Britt Baker. They both did bad. They both did not put on a good match. The tag title match lacked a lot. The tag team division is pretty much a shell of what it used to be. It is not the tag team division that we used to have in AEW, where we had teams like FTR, Red Dragon, Jurassic Express, Private Party. We had Young Bucks, Lucha Bros. We don't have that anymore. The only teams that we have like that right now are Young Bucks, Acclaim, and FTR, and that's it. There's no more Lucha Bros in AEW. They're supposed to be going to WWE. There's not that excitement like we used to have in the tag team division in AEW. Hook and Jericho, I don't think anyone cared about that match. I've seen people show pictures that everyone was leaving during that match. They're going to go to the restroom, get something to eat, merch stand. They were doing other things. They weren't watching that match. Darby and Jungle Jack Perry, that was a pretty underwhelming match for like a squash match. It was a very, very short match. It felt like a squash match, to be honest. It did not feel like a long match. And I thought that was going to be a really good match, considering Darby and Jack Perry, coffin match. I thought it was going to deliver, but it did not deliver. And then everything else was very good. Besides those 4 matches were probably the not so good matches, and everything else was good. The pre-show was whatever, but the London Ladder match was good. The Casino Gauntlet match was good. The Ospreay and MJF was good. Tony and Mariah May was good, and the main event was good. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. The highest I would go is a 7.5 out of 10 because Danielson won the world title. Now is such a good moment to see that this is really his last world title run ever. I don't think he's going to get another world title run. This is going to be his last world title run of his entire career, which is history-making moment we'll get to see. And I think maybe that Danielson will get AEW business back on track. A lot of people like to say it's good, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, but the business doesn't matter at the end of the day, because if you're in a 15,000 seat arena, you've only got 2,000 people in there, you're not doing good. Like, there's no way around it. You are not doing good. But I think maybe Danielson, maybe what's going here? I made that better. But this is Danielson's last world title run ever. So these last few shows, maybe it'll get people's interest for ticket sales because they want to see Danielson's his last world title run. They want to be in attendance for it. So it should hopefully get tickets up for All Out, maybe for this next week's Dynamite. This next week's Dynamite is in Champaign, Illinois. So I just like to make the excuse that's not in Chicago, but they've only got 1,300 tickets sold for that. That's not very good. And building holds 15,000. So maybe it'll get, like, my expectation will be that is to get 5,000 seats sold in that place by now to Wednesday. I think they can do it if they advertise and promote very good. But Swerve is probably, I like Swerve. He's a very good wrestler, very good character, very good on the mic. But he was probably the least drawing world champion AEW has ever had. That's just the truth. If you compare all the other world title runs to Swerve, his was the least drawing. Some people say it doesn't matter, but it does matter to an extent because the world champion is your face of the company. Jericho, Mox, Omega, MJF, Punk. Even though Punk didn't have it, he didn't really have a run with it. That's a guy who can draw tickets, draw money, draw merchandise sales, draw pay-per-view buys, draw ratings. That those people draw that stuff. And everyone's done that. Joe, MJF, but Swerve did not. Under Swerve as champion, we got the lowest rating Dynamite of all time. We've gotten a lot of bad attendance numbers. We've gotten a lot of bad. Not to the shows were bad, and some of the booking decisions wasn't under his control. At times, it did feel like he wasn't the main focus of the show. He was the second. Like, there was always a story that was bigger than the world title scene, which it's been done with a lot of wrestlers. That happened to CM Punk when he won the world heavyweight title in WWE. He was a world champion, but there was a story that was bigger than him. That's happened to many wrestlers over the course of wrestling history. So it's not like it just happened that Swerve, but I think Swerve will win it again, and maybe he'll get a better run. I won't say the majority of his run was back because he did have a lot of good matches. His match against Ospreay was good. Claudio was good. Danielson's match was good. His match with Christian Cage was good. So he had some good matches. But story-wise, the only stories that were really good are probably Ospreay and Danielson. Claudio wasn't really a story there. Or Strong, that wasn't really a story at all. That was just a match. The match against Claudio was good, but no story. So the only story matches were Christian Cage has story, I would say. Christian Cage, Ospreay, and Danielson. But he did the least drawing. And Danielson is a bigger name than Danielson. He's a bigger name than a lot of people in AEW. He's one of the biggest names in the company. So having him as your world champion, even if it's just for a short amount of time, maybe he can get AEW business back on track, get ratings a little bit up. I would say if the next few weeks going forward, I'm not expecting 1 million viewers, but this next Wednesday, if they can get at least 780 to close to 800,000, that would be good. And the next week, you gradually go up, and by the time that Danielson's gone, they can be at maybe 850,000, close to 900,000. That would be going upwards. It's one thing to go down all the time, but if you're going a little bit up, then you're doing something good. AEW is not doing that right now. So if Danielson's champion, maybe he can increase some stuff because Danielson is a big name. I don't expect him to draw millions of viewers in because only Punk has done that, and I don't think anyone else would do that. But it is possible to keep on going up and get back to that. Danielson won't be able to carry it on his own, but he can help get that to a starting point of getting back there. I think that he can do it if booked right. I think the next story will be Danielson and Christian Cage. Christian Cage won that Casino Gauntlet match. So I think Danielson and Christian will happen at All Out. I think Danielson will win that. I think that would be a good story to go good. That would be going good in the right direction. Christian is a good heel, very good on the mic. He can make things personal with Danielson's daughter, his family, and all that. so that could make for interesting TV and hopefully get some viewers in there and people in the seats. I think they can do it. I know I've been bad on harsh on AEW the past few months, but it's with anyone. You say what you like and what you don't like, and if you don't like a lot of stuff, you just don't like a lot of stuff. You like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. But I thought the event was very, very good. 7 out of 10 for me. It was better than All Out. It was better than All In last year, I would say. All In had a lot of good matches. I think last year the trios matches were better. The trios matches were better this year, and the tag matches were better last year. The FTR and Young Bucks tag team match was better than this year's tag match. The world title match was better than last year's. The women's matches were we only got one women's match last year. We got two this year, so that was a big improvement. Punk and Joe was good last year. Main event was good. The women's match was good. The Stadium Stampede, Jericho and Ospreay was okay. King Omega and Takeshita was good. But this year's was a lot better in some aspects. The story aspect was better. The build to it was better. But not every match was booked like it should have been, like Baker and Mercedes. Maybe you could even go with the tag title match. That wasn't like booked well. There wasn't much of a story there. Last minute booking. But this year's All In was a lot better than last year's. I like the stage better too. Last year's was cool. Like I like last year's stage. It's very cool and unique. Especially with Punk's entrance and Will Ospreay and Jericho and MJF. Like it was very cool, the entrance. But this year was a little bit bigger. The stage was bigger. I thought it was more cooler this year. The stage was. The setup was better. They did not get as many people in there as they did last year. They got 81,000 last year, but they only had 72,000 in attendance last year. 81 sold. This year they said that like they didn't announce it like they did last year. How Nigel McGuinness announced it last year as 81,000 or whatever it was. I know it was 81,000 something. But they didn't announce it this year. But according to Russell Tix, they got 55,000 sold. So probably in attendance, around 50,000 people actually in attendance. So that was pretty good. The Taylor Swift concert did take place the last weekend, so some sections were tarped off because of that. But some sections could have been available, like they weren't like behind the stage. Like who wants to sit behind the stage? Like obviously, if any wrestling show behind the stage, you don't sell those tickets because no one will be able to see. I mean, they still have limited view seating, but not like that at any events way behind the stage. Unless it's like WWE where you have the ramp, where you just have a really small entrance and then you're seating people above the entrance. That's the only way you'll do that. But AEW doesn't really do that, so they could have had more people in there at All In. There were some sections that were tarped off that still could have been sold, but they just didn't sell them. But 55,000 is very good. It's a big drop from last year's 81,000 sold, but 55,000 is very good. Next year's All In will be in All In Texas. 2025 will be all in Texas. So they did announce All In will not be there in 2025. They will be going to one the next year, but it'll be Forbidden Door. It's not been said what arena it's going to be. I wouldn't do Wembley Stadium for Forbidden Door. I'll go to a different arena for Forbidden Door, and then save All In for Wembley. Make that especially for All In Wembley. That's the only show that it happens for. The All In London will take place in 2026. We'll have All In 2025 in Texas. That's a pretty big deal. I'm glad they're not doing AT&T Center because I don't think they could sell that out very good at all. That place holds over 100,000 people. I don't think they could do that right now. They need to heat up again like they did in 2021, then try to do something like that. I would hate for them to go there the first time and only draw 30, 50,000 people out of 100,000 seats you could sell. But 1 year away from Wembley will be good. So when you go back, they can draw maybe 60, 70,000 before, like the next time they go to Wembley. So it would be better than 55,000. So I think they can do that. All In Texas is going to be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I might actually go to it. I don't know. I'm going to Bad Blood this year, WWE Bad Blood. I went to SummerSlam, if you guys know. I don't know if I'll be going to any more AEW events this year. There's a vlog coming up because of me and Chris going to Collision in South Haven. That'll be coming up pretty soon. I did go to Collision in Memphis, Tennessee this year. I went to Revolution this year. I didn't go to many AEW events this year for a number of reasons. Uh, not liking the product is one, and just money. There's a lot of expenses and stuff. But I went to SummerSlam this year because I have gotten back into WWE because CM Punk went back there. But I'm beginning to watch both now. Before I didn't watch AEW like I used to, but I'm getting back in there. Hopefully, the uh, fallout of All In continues and is really good, and takes us into next year's All In. Next year's All In is in July, so that's going to be pretty interesting. So now All Out will have a very good build. That won't be a week away or 2 weeks away. At least this year we got 2 weeks until All Out, so we got 2 weeks to build. So yeah, I'm excited for next year's AEW. They also announced next year in February AEW Grand Slam will be a pay-per-view, and it'll be in Australia. AEW will be making their debut in Australia, so that will be pretty cool. I'm assuming like, well, hopefully the what are they called? What are the tag team? United Empire? No, Aussie Open. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. He's been injured for a while. But he was on the Jericho cruise. I don't know where he's been at. So hopefully they're on the show. Jamie Hayter, some of the Australian stars of wrestling in AEW. Of course, all of AEW's big stars. But they'll be making their Australia debut next year in February, so that's going to be cool. They're going to the UK, London next year. I'm assuming they'll be going to Canada next year, like they normally do, like Toronto, and maybe they go to Vancouver again. Vancouver, they drew really good, so they'll probably go to Canada, London, and Australia next year. It's a very good jump for AEW, very good expansion. WWE goes everywhere, like they go to France, Puerto Rico, Germany. They go to just about everywhere. So I'm glad to see AEW branching out to new markets, new countries, new territories. Personally, I would like to see them do is take a whole month away from the United States, maybe 2 months, go to the UK or go to Mexico or somewhere where it's cheaper, and do weekly TV there. Do with London they taped everything. This week they taped Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, so nothing was live this last week. So when they go back to London for Forbidden Door, I think they should bring back House Rules, because you're not doing any shows on Friday, you're not doing anything on Saturday. So if you have Friday and Saturday to do a House Rules show, have it in the small markets of London, and give them a show and still film it. Because I went to House Rules twice, and they filmed the show. So obviously they can release them on a streaming service. When they go to Max, they can release the stuff. So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully they bring that back for internationals and do it there. And if they do a 2-month break from the U.S., maybe when they come back, the U.S. fans will be dying for a show, and then we'll see attendance numbers rise. But yeah, All In was good, very good show. I was the only one on tonight, but that's okay. Adam was the only one on last week, so I guess it was my duty, but that's okay. Adam's normally always on here. We're close to 100 episodes of Talking Elite, so definitely appreciate everyone watching. Logan, JB, DJ, definitely appreciate you all watching. We will be back every Sunday for Talking Elite. Talking Elite was on Thursdays, but we've moved Talking Elite to Sundays now because Adam took a night job and is not able to do the Thursday show, so we moved it to Sundays. Hopefully next Sunday we'll have some more people on here, but we will be back for AZ Canada Tuesday. Our Canada crew will be live on Tuesday. I'm sure they'll do their own review and stuff like that for All In. We'll be back for our Dynamite review next Wednesday. I've been thinking about doing a Collision or Rampage reaction pretty soon. We haven't done a Collision or Rampage in a while. For me, Collision, I don't really get into that show much. It's not what it used to be. Collision used to be just like Dynamite, a very newsworthy show, but different, completely different from Dynamite. And it sets itself apart. It had a lot of star power, good storytelling. They don't really have that anymore. Collision's still good. It has good matches and stuff, but if all you're in is for good matches, then not everyone can really enjoy that. I like a mixture of good storytelling and good matches. And Collision used to have that, and now they're only for good matches. They really took Rampage and Ring of Honor made that Collision now, which I don't really enjoy that. Maybe others do. I don't, and a lot of other people don't because people don't go to Collision anymore. They don't attend to Collision no more. They don't watch Collision anymore. That's proven. So uh, people will say Saturdays is a tough night to draw people, but even when they were on Saturdays before, they were drawing better numbers with Punk than without him. I still think they can do better. They could do Collision just like they did with CM Punk. Even though they don't have CM Punk anymore, they could still have that same show format and do it without CM Punk. Just replace CM Punk when Edge comes back, and then there you go. But we'll be back. Maybe we'll do a Collision or Rampage. Next Saturday is WWE Bash in Berlin, the sister channel to the All Elite Zone Wide World of Wrestling podcast. We'll be back tomorrow for Raw, our Raw reaction. We haven't done a Raw reaction in a little while. We'll be back for Monday. That's tomorrow. The Go Home show to Bash in Berlin for Raw. Then we'll be live for maybe NXT on Tuesday. The Wide World of Wrestling is the sister channel to the All Elite Zone. It's more so WWE content than anything, but we do TNA. We've done some other wrestling stuff, and there's in the works to do other shows and stuff on there too, not just live reactions. But that's what's coming pretty soon. We're slowly getting towards it, slowly getting things done, and channel work, channel artwork done, promotional material stuff. We're slowly getting that together. We'll be back for Raw, NXT possibly. If we do anything AEW related next weekend, it'll be Talking Elite, and maybe we'll do Rampage or Collision. We'll probably do a Rampage, a 1 hour Rampage, because it's easier to do that than sometimes it's hard to do Collision on Saturdays. When CM Punk was there, I made time for it. I'm like, I didn't care what was going on. I would watch Collision no matter what. I would try to watch it. But without CM Punk, it just gives me the urge to like go out of my way to watch it. But if we have spare time, we can try to do it. But Rampage will most likely try to do because it's easier to do. We normally do our SmackDown reviews on Fridays as well. So if we do a SmackDown review, we'll try to do it right after SmackDown, do a 1 hour Rampage. Next week we'll have Tuesday. As far as the All Elite Zone, we'll have Tuesday AEW Canada, Wednesday Dynamite Reaction, Friday our AEW Rampage Reaction, and Sunday Talking Elite. If you haven't subscribed to the Worldwide of Wrestling, definitely subscribe there. We're over 1,000 subscribers over there. We did get a head start because that was my personal YouTube channel. I just rebranded it to that. So there's over 1,000 subscribers over there. We mostly do Raw, SmackDown. We've done NXT this last week reactions. We've done TNA reactions. We've done some WWE pay-per-view reactions. We've only done one, the Royal Rumble, the beginning of this year. But if you watch WWE, definitely go check out that channel. We've really grown that channel a lot. Even though it got a head start on subscribers, view-wise, we've really grown that channel more so than the All Elite Zone channel. We've grown a little bit more because maybe WWE just gets more traction than AEW. I don't know. But we thank you all for watching. Daniel, when do we get Adam Cole versus Jack Perry? Probably whenever Adam Copeland gets back. It's pretty interesting that WWE made a new, or Triple H did, I would say, that established names can use their names outside of WWE. So I'm curious when he comes back, is he still going to go by Adam Copeland, or when he returns, will he go by Edge again? Because he can use it now if he wants to. That it's free for everybody to do now. So if John Cena left, which he's not going to do, if he went to AEW, he can use John Cena now. I thought that's really cool that Triple H did that. Shows a lot more character to him than Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon wouldn't have done that. But I think, it said 5 to 6 months. He got injured in May. He had surgery, so in May, June, July, August, September, he could be back for Wrestle Dream when he debuted 1 year ago. He could win it back then, the TNT title, if that's what they want to do with him. But it could happen at Wrestle Dream. That's where I would say. If not Wrestle Dream, then Full Gear. He'll be back before this year's over with, for sure, because he didn't have a big injury. He was only supposed to be out for 5 to 6 months. He could come back early as soon as Wednesday night. Who knows? But he'll be back pretty soon. Probably guess Wrestle Dream or Full Gear. But definitely subscribe to the Wide World of Wrestling. Subscribe here. check out our social media links in the description below, in the link in the description below: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere. Definitely go check out our Twitter and Facebook. That's where we'll see show updates, interview announcements, news. We'll do all kinds of fun stuff on there. I'm going to bring back AZ Daily pretty soon on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. I plan on bringing that back. And we have a lot of interviews on the All Elite Zone channel. We've interviewed dozens of people. We've interviewed Kevin Von Erich, Buddy Matthews. We've interviewed Eric Rowan here recently. We interviewed Barry Horowitz. Very fun interview. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go check it out. We've interviewed the Von Erichs, the sons of Kevin Von Erich, Ross and Marshall. We've interviewed the Pope, Johnny Swinger. We've interviewed Alex Shelley. We've interviewed the whole catalog of wrestlers. Definitely go check out all those interviews that we've done. And I plan on having 2 more interviews before this year's over with. I want the next interview to be Victoria, as we've tried to get her on for a while and we haven't been able to. But the next interview, I plan on it being on Victoria. Then to close the year out, it'd be Raven. That's what I hope. But we definitely will have a lot more interviews coming next year. We've had a lot of interviews. Sabu's even been on here. Ahmed Johnson. We've had a lot of good interviews. And I plan on continuing that in 2025. Maybe we'll get some AEW wrestlers on here. We've had Buddy Matthews, Bryce Remsburg, Brandon Cutler from AEW. But yeah, we will be back. The All Elite Zone will be back for, you think Adam Cole wins the title back? Possibly. I think he could win it back. And especially I think if he never would have gotten, if Edge never would have gotten injured, I think he would have been involved in the Elite storyline with FTR and Darby. He probably would have been in that Blood and Guts match. He probably would have been in that. So I think they'll go right into that, him and Jack Perry. I think he will win the title back, but I don't think he'll have it long. I still think Malachi Black should beat him. They should revisit that feud and have Malachi win. And then, because Adam Copeland said he's only going to be wrestling for a year and a half left. And you do want to do, I thought they really do want to do Edge and Christian one last tag team title run. But they could have another match between Edge and Christian Cage, maybe for the world title. If Christian Cage does end up winning it, maybe they have a feud between Edge and Christian for the world title, have Edge win that. But I think the end-all story is going to be Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne and someone else. Someone will swoop into the group, and they'll take over the group, and they're going to turn on Christian Cage. So then he goes back to Christian. He goes back to Edge for help, and that's how we get the Edge and Christian reunion. They win the tag titles, and then they retire together. I don't think he'll have the TNT title for long. I think he'll win it back just to win it back to say that he reclaimed the title. I do want Copeland Cage to win the tag titles for it. Yeah, he only says wrestling a year and a half, and that's not too far. I would say 2026 would be when he's retiring. I do think that Edge and Christian will be back in WWE, but not to wrestle. I think Christian will be in the Hall of Fame by himself, and I think Edge and Christian will be in the Hall of Fame together. I think that'll happen, but with AEW, I think Copeland will win the TNT title again. Won't have it long. He'll lose it to someone like Malachi, or maybe lose it back to Jack Perry. I don't know. They might do a feud with the world title. Edge could win it, and then he could lose it, and then Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne turn on Christian. I feel like someone else is going to join the group to take it over, kind of like the Judgment Day, and then they just turn on Adam. They turn on Edge, and then Christian goes to help for Edge. He asks Edge for help, so they reunite together. That could happen. Either way, I think AEW definitely wants to have them in their careers together. I'm sure Christian and Edge wants that too. I would like to see it next year's All In, if possible, or 2026 All In, if it could be their last match at All In 2026. I would do Christian and Edge versus FTR for the tag titles. That's what I would do. That would be a good last match. That would be really, really cool to see. Yeah, I'd like to see them one last tag title run in their careers together against FTR. That would be really cool. But yeah, we'll be back as far as the All Elite Zone on Tuesday for AZ Canada. I'll be back. Me and Mr. Jacobs will be back on the Wide World of Wrestling podcast Monday for Raw. If you're interested in WWE content, definitely go check out the Wide World of Wrestling podcast. We've done NXT Tuesday. We might do NXT again. It's a very fun show. A lot of people don't give NXT another chance. It is not like the Black and Gold there anymore, but they're getting back to that. I think this is a new entity to NXT. It's not like the Black and Gold era, but it's kind of like that, but its own entity now. They're bringing in more free agents. They're bringing in bigger names like Ethan. Ethan Page's not a big name, but he is someone that was from the Indies that's good, and they're building it up in NXT, kind of like what they did with other people in the original NXT. They brought a lot of free agents like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and they built them up on NXT, and they became bigger stars. Which there's rumors of noticing Machine Guns going to NXT, Ricky Starks, Wardlow. There's women coming, Julia, Stephanie Valkyria is going to NXT. So they're building up NXT a lot. So we do NXT reaction, SmackDown. So if you're interested in WWE content, definitely go check out the Wide World of Wrestling podcast. And yeah, we will see you guys for AEZ Canada on Tuesday.